Happy Monday to you. We're getting a crazy start this morning. It's almost like deja vu. We're going to do it again. We've had some issues with technical difficulties, so I apologize about that, but we're going to get everything underway. Right now, I am joined on Jyneration Nation, LRS102.com, The Walrus, with Big Poppa Stampley and Lainey B. How are y'all doing today? Just fine. It's been a crazy morning, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, happy Monday to you, and happy Mercury retrograde. You know what that means. We redo everything, which kind of makes sense that we're in it right now.
Right.
Yeah, I was really excited to have you all both in on the show because, like I said, me and Lainey B go way back. She was at my 21st birthday party, and I do want to say this again. There's a famous picture of me and you floating out there, Lainey, the night that Tiffany tried to kidnap me and make me take bourbon shots in the green room and get all up on.
And you probably did it too, didn't you?
Well,
Not
no, actually, I didn't.
shots.
I did the shots back then. I was 21, in my 20s. And drinking pretty heavy.
Of course.
Well, I mean, I had her cassette tapes when I was a kid in the 80s, so I was like,
I had a few.
you know, when she was, I mean, just to get to meet her was kind of cool because, you know, anybody had a cassette tape and was listening to in the country that was a big pop star
That
back
was a
then
big
was a
deal.
big deal to me.
Right.
And then I went on to get to play, not with her, but we played the same stage, and she was like, can I borrow your tambourine? And I said, yes, you can. And then next thing I know, you know, she's trying to get me back in the green room and do shots with her. So it was kind of funny. But you're in those pictures with me, and you were at my 21st birthday
Dude, like, I
party.
want to need that picture like stat.
I know. Well, I'm gonna give it to you after.
real.
I'm gonna give you the picture after this show for sure. And Big Poppa, I'm a big fan of yours. You got a new CD coming out. You've got all kinds of stuff going on. You always did. You're a blues man around town. You're a transplant from Chicago, Illinois. And I just want to start off the show by asking you. I want you to tell our listeners what brought you to Louisville. How long have you been playing blues? What got you into playing blues music?
You put me in a spot here with that. It's so easy to answer when well, anyway.
Yeah.
Love brought me to Louisville.
Oh, I love that.
You know, it was, I had kind of rehooked up with my childhood sweetheart at the time, and we had been together for a good long time, and so that I'm sitting right next to my lady here, so I can quickly get out of that area.
Right, yeah, let's, we'll
Quickly.
keep rolling. You don't want to get smacked.
But anyway, and I'm with a wonderful, wonderful lady right now, Miss Lainey B. And
Yeah, well, congrats to you both.
So, but I mean, you know, Louisville's just a great. I was really pleasantly surprised. I really come from Chicago, and I had been kind of working regionally for a long time, and I really expected to be going in and out of town a lot more, and then I discovered that, wow, what a great town for musicians to be in. And I tell musicians that here all the time, they just don't know. You know, this is such a wonderful town that cares about musicians, that, you know, it nurtures musicians.
It sure does.
It's not really happening in Chicago.
Right. Really? I'm shocked by that. Yeah.
I mean, there's pockets, I would say, I'm sure, but it's just kind of a different environment, I think.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, this is.
You know, every time I try to get away from Louisville and go to Nashville or go somewhere else, it always sucks me back in.
You visit.
It always sucks me back in. I have no family here in Louisville. They're all 2 hours away. So every time I keep going, am I going to stay here? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
It just sucks me back in. It's the people here that I love so much, and they're just so great to me. You know, I've had a lot of not great experiences in Louisville,
I think
but
you
the
get anywhere you
great
go.
people outweigh the crappy people here. And I just love it for some reason, and I've stuck around for 21 years. We've been here almost around the same time.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, and I know we're doing this again, but I wanted to share a fun fact about my life
go ahead.
with you because you're from Chicago all over, and I wanted to let you know that my cousin Chuck Yates was a bouncer for Muddy Waters. Yeah, until he passed. Yeah,
Mr. Walters.
yeah, I never got to meet him, but I've heard tons of awesome stories about him. And, you know, if you're going to study blues, you got to know who Muddy Waters is. You got to know the Chicago Shuffles, the but down,
As we were just talking about, my
Right.
guitar teacher was Reggie Boyd.
Yeah.
And Reggie Boyd was the number one, what they used to call first chair in the studio. You got different first, second, third chair, whatever.
Yeah.
He was
Same with
first chair
orchestra.
and
Yeah.
guitar, right, exactly. And for Chess Records. So, I mean, he was working with Etta James, Muddy.
Wow,
Howlin'
Chess.
Wolf, Chuck Berry. He worked with the Stones.
Mm.
You know, and he was in there recording a lot of Chuck Berry. No, I don't say a lot.
Yeah.
No, not a lot. But some of Chuck Berry's work was where Reggie Boyd had to fix it.
Wow.
You know, I mean, he was the
Yeah.
guy that was there, and Chuck was on the road. He had so much he was doing, and I shouldn't say fix it, but maybe finish certain things they were trying to work because they had schedules to get a product out.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was my teacher, and I'm like,
That's amazing, man.
And-
Well,
oh,
I mean,
it-
Chuck Berry, he's like the godfather of
yeah.
rock and roll to me. I mean, he, a lot of our younger listeners probably don't know, but unless they've had like music theory in college, but
is rock.
if you study rock and roll was birthed out of the blues.
out of the blues. Absolutely.
Yeah, and those early artists like the Chuck Berrys and the Sam and Daves and
The early R&B artists.
and the Little Richards and
Right,
that
right.
whole, the Ike Turners and all those
man,
cats.
yeah.
I mean, they literally
Rocket
birthed
88, the very first
Rocket 88,
the
man.
very first rock and roll record, right? It was really Ike Turner.
Ike Turner, right? Yeah,
You know,
I
it's
actually,
under another name because he was with one label, so he had to do it under another name.
yeah.
And so
I
you
had
look at
once
what
heard
name
too, and I don't know, our listeners can call in on our rock line and let us know, but I
Yeah.
did hear once that Rocket 88 may have been the first song that actually had a backbeat in it, which was that pop on snare, and the snare
from the
hits on
drummers
2
did?
and
I
4.
don't know. Yeah, maybe
That the drummers did, and that went on to be a very, it was in like soul and R&B and some of the other styles prior to rock and roll, but
Right.
when rock and roll came around, like that was a defining
Oh,
thing
definitely.
in rock and roll. They wanted that 2 and 4 there.
The jazz drummers didn't even have a bass drum.
Yeah, I know.
They didn't
Back in
use
those
the bass
days, yeah.
So I mean, the snare and the hi hat and that kind of thing, the different kind of
Mm-hmm.
things they would use, or they'd have a bass drum that barely play it.
Yeah.
So with like you said, we moved into rock and roll. The beat was the king.
The beat was the king, and then the invention of the electric guitar, obviously, which Chuck Berry was very famous for. Every time I picture Chuck Berry in my head, it's that famous stance where he's
Right.
down, he's got his guitar, and he's got his leg kicking. He would do that
Doing
leg kick
that-
thing across the
I
stage.
do a lot of school program, just when you brought it up, and I've got this one thing where I play different characters.
Yeah.
And I play Chuck Berry, so I dress up like him, I put the wig on, I go the whole thing to Chuck Berry.
Yeah.
That is the most exhausting part of anybody I do.
I bet the
And I
leg
was saying,
kick
this
thing
guy's
across
doing
the
this
stage.
until he was 75 or 80 doing it. I'm
I
like,
know.
wow.
Yeah,
know,
I probably could barely do that now at 40.
Well, actually,
Yeah, I hear
my
you.
feeling, when I was talking about my frequent trips down to the Caribbean and all that,
Yeah.
kind of got me in another head where all my friends and I drove them crazy with this stuff. But I'm feeling pretty good shape.
That's good.
at my
Yeah,
age,
you
I'm
look
like,
great.
I'm staying on the
Yeah,
organic.
you're
and
playing,
the
man.
workout, and
That's
I'm
good.
not going to change.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Change is tough sometimes.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean?
No. I mean, I don't want to do any bad change.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I lost 100 pounds.
Yeah, I can tell. I was going to tell you, you look fantastic.
Well, thank you. Say
Now,
again.
a couple
So
years
you-
ago, and that is hard to do, and I know this personally because I lost almost 100
Yeah,
pounds.
no, so-
A couple years ago, I hired a trainer, started eating really healthy, started working out twice a week for an hour.
Yep.
I dropped so much weight so quick. I went from a size 40 in pants to a size 32, and I'm back up to like a 34, in between a 34 and
But you
36
control it.
now.
Now you got control.
But I don't look like a skeleton, so that's good. So, and it's hard to maintain that lifestyle. I tell you what, it really is, because I love to eat.
Well, the thing is, my cravings are so much of the food that we eat has little crap in it that makes you crave.
Yeah.
So since I'm not eating that, I don't crave it anymore. So
Right.
I'm not even.
It really
just
is a
stops
lot
the whole
about your
craving.
diet. Yeah.
But
And you have to plan it out like almost a week ahead of time.
And I'm gonna get off this, but this was
Sure.
the crazy thing that really changed. Like you see these little shots you can get of wheatgrass.
Yep.
My drummer and I down St. Croix, we would go out in the yard, and there was like 6 and 8 foot guinea grass. We would chop down the guinea grass. We'd bring it into his juicer, and we drink every day 16 ounces of grass.
Wow.
And I mean,
That's
your
actually supposed to
energy-
be good for you.
Oh, it is the best possible thing you can.
It's what
eat.
cows do.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, not with it. But they don't have
Right,
no
right.
DDT and all this chemical.
Right, I
crap
get it,
going
I
on.
get it, yeah.
You can't do that one.
Yeah,
Don't
no
eat the
kidding.
chemical crap.
Do you eat meat or no?
I do, but
Okay.
I don't crave it anymore.
You don't
like
crave
I used
it,
to. It's
yeah.
not like a,
Yeah, because I've been playing a lot with people who are on a vegetarian or vegan diet. I dated a vegan for 6 years, yeah.
Your energy levels off the chain.
It is.
all the time.
It's off the charts when you're eating good and taking care of yourself for sure. Now, Lainey B,
Oh,
I want to talk to you a
she's
little
doing
bit.
the same thing, by the way.
Oh yeah, you're doing the same thing. You look great too. You always do.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you look like you haven't aged a bit in 20-something years I've known you.
Get up close to me.
That's what I
Especially
say.
in my head.
I was
Great,
telling
great,
the girls
great.
the other day, I'm like, I've got to be on Great Day Live on Wednesday, and I was like, I'm wearing glasses because I am not gonna have these bags under my eyes and look like I'm old.
That just states that you work hard.
Right, exactly. I work hard. That's right. That's right. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about your history.
Yeah, ma'am.
And your background playing music, because as long as I've known you, you've been a singer around town, and you're always doing something. And by the way, I love those little, is it simile things that y'all do online where you get to sing? Smule, yeah, where you sing with somebody else. That is fascinating to me.
Yeah, I'll sing with people from all walks of life, all over the world. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's
Amazing.
technology is amazing, isn't it?
Robin actually hit me onto that.
Yeah.
You know Robin.
Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah.
Y'all both
Shout
were
out
at
to
my
you, Robin.
y'all both were at my 21st birthday party. We were
Yes, we
laughing about
were.
how much drinking was going on back in them days. I said I was new to town. I knew literally about 10 people, so I went to the bar and just invited everybody. Next thing I know, 100 plus
I
people
was
show
just
up.
grateful that we got an invite.
Well, yeah, and
We're like, hey, we're in the clique.
we didn't even we had so much to drink that night that I literally went and got enough ice to fill up my bathtub, and everybody was just using that as the cooler. I mean, you know what I mean?
Funniest thing. That was crazy.
Yeah, and I can't remember the rest
Stick
of
your
it,
face
but
in it.
I remember it was a good
I
time.
remember getting sick and leaving.
Do you really? 'Cause I
Yes.
don't remember. I remember you being there. That's about it.
Yeah. It was all right.
So, Lainey, tell me about where did you get your background singing music?
My background actually came from, started out at the age of 4 or 5-ish. I knew I was going to be singing.
Yeah.
I just knew that. And from an early age, before 4, I was in church.
Yeah. Good
pretty
for
much
you.
day in, day out.
Was that
yeah.
here in Louisville?
Actually, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
cool.
yes, it was.
So you're born and bred, raised in Louisville?
Born in Hopkinsville, Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
Raised in Louisville, Kentucky.
Love that.
Yes.
Louisville. I have to
Louisville.
teach people all over the world how to say it. They're always like
Louisville,
Louisville. They always say Louisville, and I'm like, girl or boy, if you say that, they're going to be like, where are you from?
I've actually had somebody ask me, "Oh, do you pronounce it Louisville?" I'm like, "No."
You know what I always say?
Louisville.
I always say this. I always say, pretend that your mouth is completely numb from bourbon, and then say it, Louisville. Because you don't move anything in your mouth when you say it. You
Right.
say it from the back of your throat. Louisville.
I'm actually trying to say it right,
Yeah.
Louisville, but
Louisville,
I'm like, it's not spelled that
Louisville.
way though.
There was an old school group called Downright Click, and they had that song Louisville, Louisville. Remember that? It was filthy,
Yes,
but I
do.
loved it.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
We
Yeah.
had a new song that you was on it too, I believe.
Yeah.
That we've got a song about Louisville.
Take Me Home to
It's
Oh,
on
you
the-
do?
Yeah,
On the
they
new
run it.
record?
It's not on here, but they've been running it on. I'm doing this under another band name
Okay.
or whatever. But
Like another
me and
moniker.
Vin Morial, I
Prime
don't know if you know
Cuts.
Vin Morial wrote it, and they've been playing on FPK, and it's called
Very cool.
different some states, but it's
Josh Groban is the lead
Yeah,
singer on that.
Josh Glauber.
Yeah.
And, it's
You
called-
collaborate with a lot of people, I've noticed.
People, yeah,
Yeah.
people.
I always say music is all about the collaboration. And
It's-
I do feel like it is.
Mhm.
Yeah. If they're trying to, even the bigger art, even the bigger record industry world, the bigger, the people we all love to hate as musicians.
It's an accident.
It is. It
We
is
know.
an accident.
Just
But
an
what they always try to do is they'll take some young artist who they're trying to break, and then they'll find somebody who's super hot, like a Bruno Mars, and then they'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
like, "Hey, let's just put her with him so that he helps
Oh,
break her."
absolutely.
Right.
It really is all about the collaboration. That's why
Definitely, especially for
I'm
promotion.
always looking for artists to collaborate
too.
with, and I keep it rolling. I don't like it to get stale. You know what I
Right.
mean? If I'm playing with somebody for 3 or 4 years and there ain't nothing happening, then I'm like, bye. I got to
on.
move on to the
Yeah.
next
We've
project.
I've been going
That
to
personal
Memphis
would
in the
move on.
last 3 years. I've been in Memphis a couple of times for the IBC, where I've run
Yeah.
for the IBC contest, and we need to do something because I talk with a bunch
I
of
would
blues
love to.
artists from other countries. Like I got a guy's buddy in South Korea now, another one in Ireland. You know
Wow.
that people that we work with, and we
It's
need to bring
incredible,
them
Jen.
and
You need to go.
let us
It's
take
incredible.
us there. You know.
Yeah, I was in Memphis not too long ago,
I
about a
remember.
week after the IBC championship, and I went down to Bill Street
Right.
and
It's incredible.
hung out at Jerry Lawler's place
you
and
go.
ate
Did you eat some of the food?
Girl, I ate some of the most amazing
Oh, my
strawberry
God.
shortcake.
Girl, I'm talking about the fish and the chicken.
Oh, the fish
There
and
you
the
go.
chicken. Yes, ma'am, I did. And I went over. I had seen Graceland before, so I went over and saw the Lisa Marie and all that, But I was more interested in Sun Records, and I went to.
Right.
Yeah.
You go to both.
I went to
both
Sun
of them.
Records and I did
The
the
old
tour,
little square
and
building. I love it.
yeah,
Oh,
I got to stand where Elvis stood and hold his microphone, and and look at the
Get looking-
piano
Exactly.
that Jerry Lewis
Well, get
had
this.
played and put his cigar out on.
When we were there
Yeah.
for the Blues Challenge, the first year that he entered, we stayed in the Elvis Hotel.
Oh yeah,
Right across the street was Graceland. So who stays in the Elvis Hotel but don't go to visit Graceland? Us. Like we were literally across the street.
Yeah.
The hotel was incredible,
The
but we didn't
got
go to
crazy.
Graceland.
We were going from thing to thing to thing.
Yeah, I hear ya.
You know
Well,
how it is when you do those.
We
Well,
went to Al
and what-
Green's church though.
Oh, hey, I would rather go there to tell you the
We
truth.
went
I mean,
there.
now I love me some Elvis, but I've
me too, actually.
Graceland though. I mean, in today's standards
It's
of
like,
awesome, it's
yeah.
really not.
No, I mean, the actual
Yeah.
Graceland is the house, the smallest house on the
Yeah.
property is Graceland.
I know, isn't that crazy?
That we knew
I was
coming
more
up.
interested in the airplanes and
Right,
the,
right.
and all the
All that
fan. I
stuff.
want to
Yeah.
see the stuff you're not supposed to see, kind of stuff. And I did go to the little.
the velour, where the velour thing
Yeah.
came from in the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. And I went, Jungle Room or whatever it was, and saw where who was it? I forget. Some famous president had spent the night there, and they say it's all haunted. And
He was. I'm trying to remember.
I don't know,
Which
but
President Kennedy.
I don't know. But remember, Nixon is the famous one where he comes in and he wants his little star.
Oh, because he met with Nixon.
Yeah, he
That's
met
right.
with Nixon because I just saw the
Right.
drunken history on that episode,
Oh, really?
which was
Okay.
really funny. I don't know if you watched Drunk History or I think it's called.
I'm gonna look it up now.
Big
I'm gonna look it
Papa,
up.
you got to check that
I'm gonna
out.
check it out.
They get people trashed. They get them trashed, and they have to tell a real historic event, and then they get famous actors to reenact it as they're telling it trashed. And
Oh,
it's
that
hilarious
sounds-
because people are
Yes, I
like,
will
"Hang on a
definitely
second,
check it
I
out.
gotta go throw up,"
I
and then
will
they'll be
check it
like,
out. Oh, my God.
"But then Elvis met with Nixon," and it's just quite hilarious. But either way, there's a episode on that meeting, and they tell you a lot of stuff that you don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Behind the scenes, which is really fascinating. But I did get my little Elvis drumsticks, and I got my little Sun Record stickers, and I got a T-shirt that says Graceland. Memphis is a special place, and what's fascinating to me is all these people think that country music and all this music came from Nashville. It really came from Memphis, and then just kind of weeded its way up
It was
into
kind of
Nashville.
like I think it's three hubs. The three hubs were Chicago, Memphis, and in Texas.
Yeah.
Because so much of the original, Delta blues artists and all of them recorded in Texas.
Yeah.
And so that really started a lot of stuff in there. But those three areas, and that's where you got Chess Records. And you
Yeah,
got,
man, Chess Records.
Sun
The fact that
and-
you had a guitar teacher from that is fine. So anyway, Big Papa, you got this awesome CD that you're about to drop this week called
Yep.
Jukebox Blues.
Yep.
Big Poppa Stampley, and you got this big event coming up on Thursday night, and that's going to be at Stevie Ray's. What time do you start?
So, well, if you get there as close to 6:30 as you can to get in, because we've got if you check online, some people got some VIP invitations, that kind of thing. We've got a gift bag. We've got another special thing we're going to do. We were kind of expecting some TV cameras from another network coming through.
Cool.
Because my management's out of Chicago, and we got some. And there's some things that I don't know about. They haven't told me. So I'm going to be surprised too.
Cool. Well, I'm going to try to make this event because it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to play some music off of this CD later on today on the show. But I am going to get kicked off with some James Brown because I just love me some James Brown.
Neat.
It's living in America. You're locked on to Generation Nation, LRS102.com. The Walrus. That's some Ohio players. Ohio players, man. Fire. What a track, right? Big Poppa. I mean, isn't that track just... Yeah. You gotta love that. It's just funky. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, so you're mostly in the blues market. Have you ever branched out and done other styles? All over the markets. That's what I want to know. Yeah, talk right into your mic so we can hear you.
Are we on?
Yeah, we're on. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about all the different styles you've done over the years.
I'm on maybe 30 or 40 hip hop albums.
Really? I love that.
You know, the whole. I was just looking at it. It really took. There's a new TV show called Beats.
Yeah.
If you check it out, and it just took me back to because it's more early 2000s, but it took me back to the 90s and stuff because I had my own group and I was doing pop stuff, you know, a big variety of, you know, we were like the hottest act called Clips of the Moon, and we played Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana, Michigan, Iowa, you know, we traveled constantly. It was like the money was, I mean, that was the time, but we were doing $750 to $5,000 a date. All the time. Wow. Every weekend.
Well, I love it. I say this all the time.
And from that, let me tell you. From that, you get out, you know, just like you. People see you all over the place. You're getting calls all the time. Oh, yeah, we don't need you for this or that or whatever. So I was getting the calls, and I did some stuff for, let me see, some tracks with Joe for Subway, with, trying to think some of the groups with Quiet Storm, with... even with not Houston Sisters. Who am I thinking of? Well, not Whitney Houston, but some other Tony Braxton.
Oh, I love Tony Braxton.
You know, some tracks and stuff that we'd send out. It was. I got to talk with. I got to do a track for Santana's manager, which was
you've done a little bit of everything.
But the thing about that is with hip hop stuff gets so broken up, your samples get all over the place. So
oh yeah,
it's kind of hard.
I just happened to notice your Tater Reds T-shirt.
Oh yeah,
that's famous Memphis place. Yeah, Lucky Mojo's man.
Hey man, that's
spinning some dice at Tater Reds. Yeah. I love that shirt. What a cool shirt.
Cool. Hey, I like yours. What is that?
Mine says, on the 8th day, God created Cave City.
Cave City. Which I'm sure is a center of debauchery.
I'm a true Kentucky girl, for sure. You know, I'm from Lake Cumberland. I moved. I'm a Louisville transplant as well, and I transplanted around the same time you did. Yeah. 1999 to be exact.
And you were a little before, because I think it was 2002. Yeah. I think it was,
Yeah. So that is so cool. You know, Big Poppa, I feel like I get a lot of flack because, you know, I love hip hop and I take a lot of influence.
I love everything.
Well, I love everything too. But when I go to write as a solo artist, I more write in a rappier style because I don't really sing a whole lot.
Right.
But I do a lot of like the hip hop vocals, which I love, and that was always a style that I grew up just adoring from the time I was a kid, you know. And of course, I lived through the '80s. I loved all the Run DMC, Beastie Boys, Salt and Pepper. I mean, even down to Little Kim's dirty stuff and DJ Quick. I mean, the dirtier the better for me, you know. And then Snoop Dogg came around and Dr. Dre and Eminem. I mean, I loved all of that stuff.
Dirty Bastard.
Old Dirty Bastard. I can sing every lyric. You know what I mean? Every lyric. But what I'm saying is I feel like I take a lot of flack in the local music scene because every time I'm releasing single solo records as an artist myself and not just, you know, as a project with a band or something, people are like, you know, why are you trying to do hip hop? And I'm like, because that's what I love.
There's no that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm finally doing something I've always wanted to do because just like where you came from the hip hop in Chicago, the whole deal was always if you could learn the style, you got work because there were so many acts going around the world from Chicago or traveling or whatever that if you learned blues, you could work blues. If you learned rock and roll, you could work rock and roll. If you learned reggae, you could work. I started doing a lot of Caribbean stuff because a friend of mine threw reggae work off to me. So I really got into the style more. So I have a thing, I call it caribou jazz music. And blues is definitely something that I love and who I am, and that's who I am. But I love all the babies it's created, and like I play a lot of jazz material too. And like on the CD, I try to devote this more to 20s through 50s blues because of how it melded with all the other music. Because I mean, the Beard Workers, one of myself and Vin Morrell wrote, "Sitting on Top of the World." You remember that's
Oh yeah,
with Walter Vinson. This is the Mississippi Sheiks. This was like in 1930. Moon on Reef St. Louis is a more jazzy kind of thing. Racehorse Blues is Helen Humes and Sylvester Weaver. And Sylvester Weaver was right out of Louisville. He was the first he was the first blues record.
Wow.
Where him and Helen
I was going to
Humes,
say
they were out of
Racehorse
Louisville.
Blues sounds right up Louisville, Kentucky's alley.
It's just about that.
Yeah. I figured it might be.
Oh yeah, and the Universal Soul and Man is me and my son, because I travel. I go like you. I'm out of country working time. I'm in and out. But my son travels a lot too, and we kind of did a song about. One of the problems I think everybody's always looking at how different. Not everybody, but people are looking at too much of the differences between them and others, as opposed to the similarities. And when you travel around the world, as you know. You don't find a lot of differences. People are the same.
I've
Same
actually
everything.
found that if I travel, it's made me realize that there are some of the coolest people ever around in this country. You know what I mean? Because I've been fortunate to find some great ones. And then I'd come back here and go through a lot of downtime where I'm like, I hate everybody. And then I get out. Not everybody technically, but you know what I'm saying? You get sucked into the depression of coming back and just
Silly
being stuck.
conversation.
And then you go back out and you're like, wow, these people are amazing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So the good outweigh the bad mostly.
Yes.
Yeah, but you've got to go through the good to respect the
But
bad.
they're all over
Or
the
I mean, to
world.
respect.
They
You've
are
got to go
all
through the
over the
bad to
world.
respect the
Right.
good.
Right.
Yeah. So here in a few minutes, we're going to actually spin a track. Elaine, I want to talk to you a little bit. Lainey B. You're actually on this record as well. And
ma'am.
how did you two kind of hook up along the way? Because I know he's played with all these other artists. And by the way, Big Poppa, I have to tell you, I love your hat.
Oh.
That feather is straight pimp. I love it. That red and white. I'm a big fan of a hat
Right.
and a feather,
And
for
feathers, like
sure.
what my dad probably wrote back in the 40s and stuff.
Yeah.
Feathers,
Oh, really? It was your dad's
yeah.
hat?
No, I mean, the
Yeah.
whole zoot suit thing.
Oh
that
yeah.
whole-
Oh yeah. I like to
Yeah.
look good when. I
Yeah,
mean, not
right.
for radio because people don't see us. That's the best part of
Right,
radio.
yeah.
But if I'm on TV,
enjoy
I'm
that.
gonna look good. If
Heck yeah,
I'm
when
gonna
you do
try
that.
my best at least for gigs and stuff like that.
As you
Yeah.
always do.
What's that famous saying? They say, "Dress like a king to be treated like one."
That's right.
That's
Exactly.
a famous Rumi quote, I think, or not, maybe not Rumi, but it's like a law of power or something like that. It's from some book. Yeah.
Indian. Yeah.
And I found that to be true. If I dress down at a really nice gig, I don't get taken near as seriously as in if I really go all out. I've got some Bob Mackie jackets, and
man.
I like to dress it up
Right.
a little bit. And my gay men taught me about attire, and they said you can wear anything, jean wise and t-shirt wise you want, but you dress it up with a nice jacket, some good shoes, and a cool hat, and
And
you're
all of a
gonna look
sudden-
immaculate. And it's true.
You're spiffy. Yeah.
It's
It's
all
true.
about
So
them
it-
shoes.
It is all about them shoes. I know for a girl,
a girl,
it is all about them Louis Vuittons.
It's all about the shoes.
Yeah. You got any red bottoms? Them girls love them red bottoms.
Thinking about getting a pair though for the loafers, because I
Right.
can't wear heels.
I hear you.
That's so unfortunate.
Yeah, of course
but
you can't.
I'm
wear
still
those.
gangster
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, tell everybody. I know you are. People probably don't know, but you tell them about your leg.
Well, for those who don't know me, I am an amputee. Have been since 71. So
1971.
basically all
right.
of my life. I get along with it just fine.
I tell you what, you really do. I mean, I've never seen you struggle.
It hasn't always been fun and easy.
I'm sure.
Kids can be mean. Hell,
yeah.
adults can be mean.
Yeah, let's be real.
They can be
Thank
actually
you.
worse.
Yeah.
The stairs, it was awful. Back then or whatever, I just couldn't deal with it.
So
It's
you
like, oh
faced
my
a lot
God.
of discrimination probably because of it.
Not really discrimination. Pity, I guess you could say, maybe. But a lot of people, they don't know. I mean, and, I welcome people to ask questions and whatever, but just to
I want to know all about it, because it's always been fascinating to me, and I think anybody who can overcome some sort of issue or ailment, or an amputee issue, is more amazing to me. And you're a powerful black female, you know what I'm saying? And not only,
right.
I know. I love a queen, girl. I love a queen. I do. And I always like to say I love me some culture. That's my thing.
Ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I love to learn from different backgrounds and everything like that. But I was going to say that I know it's probably been hard for you because of that, And we people with legs, we just, sometimes it takes seeing it just to make us remember that we shouldn't take the simple things for granted.
That's true. And I'm not saying it because I want pity.
Right. Of course not.
But walk a day in, and I'm going to say I'm speaking for all the amputees all over the world, whether it's a limb, an arm, an eye, whatever. Walk a day, walk an hour in our shoes.
Right. I always say that too.
And you'll see.
Yeah.
You really will appreciate. Oh my God.
Did you know over the weekend they were having down here, somewhere downtown Louisville, they were having the amputee vets that are in like wheelchairs, some kind of Olympics. It was some kind of like sporting event that was pretty big. Yeah, because several people told me that they were, going to it and whatnot.
Like
yeah.
I would,
I don't know. I don't know what kind of ball they play or what. I didn't know the details of it, but I do know that it is for vets who have like either lost limbs or they're confined to a wheelchair. Yeah, and they do all kinds of events and stuff like that.
If you ever get to see, I used to see them in Chicago playing wheelchair softball.
Yeah.
It's more exciting.
Oh, I bet.
Than regular softball.
I played regular
more
softball.
exciting.
I would much rather watch wheelchair softball. I would think that was amazing.
Their timing,
yeah.
Their timing and oh man, it was incredible. I was like.
By the way, I also want to give a shout out to our women's soccer team who just kicked some major behind for the United States of America. And I don't care what they're saying. You keep saying your piece, girlfriends. You keep saying your piece and keep begging for that money, too, because they ain't even close in dollar bills as the men. We were defending our national title, I believe, or our world title, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, the girls are always in the top 3. Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to spin a track off of this. Elaine, I keep calling you Lainey B. Lainey B. I want you to talk about this track that I'm about to spin. I'm about to spin Big Poppa Stampley's Jukebox Hero, track number 6, which is Keep This Love Alive.
Yes, ma'am.
And did he pick you for this, or did you want to record on this? Did you have anything to do with the writing process? How did that go?
Actually, this is a song that he had already written, like, back when.
Okay.
And he had performed it, live, with, someone else or whatever. But far as the recording of it, he asked me would I do it, and I learned it, and I'm like, oh my God, I like this song. Once I heard the, all the music and everything, I'm like, this song is awesome. Oh my God. And, it started getting, a lot of airplay, and I'm like, wow, because off of the CD, he was telling me, he said, this song, Keep This Love Alive, is getting a whole lot of press.
Yeah.
Like,
cool. Well, it's about to get more here on LRS. We're going to spin it, and this is off the new CD from Big Poppa Stampley.
Was a cold, cold morning. There was snow upon the ground. I'd worked late the night before. She let me sleep. She let me snore. She got out of bed, put on a robe, walked our dog in the bitter cold. She slipped back in bed and I felt a chill, held her close to keep her warm and still. Can we keep this love alive?
This love alive.
Can we keep this love alive?
This love alive.
If we keep this love strong,
This love alive.
I think that
This love alive.
I can carry on.
Thought to myself, this would always be. Good things seem to get away from me. Spoke to the Lord and told him my plan. Let him be my only man. Yes. Can we keep this love?
Keep this love alive.
Keep this love.
Keep this love alive.
Keep it going. Keep it going. Carry
Seems like I'm always working overtime. When I get home, don't pay enough attention. We're gonna make this love thing work again. We only got one mission. That we keep this love alive. Can we keep this love alive? If we keep this love strong, I think that I can carry on. Maybe I can carry on. We're gonna keep it strong every minute. Keep all the love and joy we got in it. We know one day dark clouds might come, but we're not settled for nothing less. Keep this love alive. Keep this love alive.
Keep this love alive. Keep it going strong.
Keep this love
We keep it
alive.
strong.
Keep this love alive. Keep this love alive.
Keep it going.
Keep this love alive.
Can we keep this love alive?
Keep this love alive.
Keep this love alive.
Keep this love alive.
Can we keep this love alive? It's Big Poppa Stampley with Lainey B on backing vocals. I love that song.
Yeah.
Great track, Big
Thank
P.
you.
I love that. I tell you what, great song subject too, because subject matter, I guess, or lyrics too. And I love that little modulation at the end and all that.
That's
yeah.
my favorite part.
The modulation, yeah.
This,
I can
like,
hear you take it up. Yeah.
All the energy is like, I get chills through my whole entire body. When the modulation kicks in, it's like, oh my God, here's the part.
Yeah. I tell you what, and I love the song lyrics because the goal of a relationship, if you're monogamous, because there's a lot of non-monogamous too, which I would totally respect. Whatever you're into, go for it. But
Even
keeping
with
the love
that,
alive. It's hard.
Even any kind of way.
Yeah, exactly. It with anything, you're right. That's just kind of how it rolls. So yeah, great track. I love that
Oh,
one.
thanks.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about what do you have coming up on the books? Because I know we've got Stevie Ray's coming up on Thursday. You got anything after that? Because you're always doing
Constantly.
something.
It's stuff all the time. I mean,
Give us some examples.
If you check BigPoppaStampley.com, you see some of it's a mixture of stuff. For local stuff, I'm at Bear Bar. I'm at over in New Albany at I think they closed down River City Winery.
Did they really?
Yeah, because I had been playing over there, but down the street, the Exchange, which is a really nice spot. If you're having a New Albany, right over there, kind of near the river, the Exchange, it's kind of like a. It's
like a
like
yuppie place.
4 or 5 different. It's like
Yeah.
about a 300. When do you say 200?
You know, Big Pop, I want to ask you about this because you would be a great one to talk about it too. Because our guest in the past several weeks that I've been doing the show, we've been talking about the Louisville local music scene since we've been in it, and how venues have gone under, and how much it's changed. I mean, how much has it changed in your opinion, and has it affected your business at all?
I've been going in it, but I'm, just like this. I mean, I have had the fortunate. I'll say this real quick. I've had the fortunate situation where I've done a whole lot of corporate stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I was vice president of a company. I've done so much corporate stuff, and compared to music, I would rather do music.
Well, yeah.
Than anything. I don't care how much money it is. So I've just stayed in it. It's just something I'm just going to do from now on, whatever.
I decided.
So, but you know how, just what you're saying, so many places have changed over.
Yeah.
But as musicians, I think, and just like you, people are always going to want to hear you. They're going to want to hear you.
I hope so.
And that's how
know.
it is. So I can just keep working. I think it's you just got to look and see what's new. But here's one I just want to tell you before I forgot. Lucky's Market. It's a grocery store.
Yeah.
It's a health food grocery store. It's out on Hurstbourne. And they have a bar in the middle of the store. And they have live music in the middle of a grocery store. It's the coolest gig in the world.
That sounds really cool.
And they have all
What part of Hurstbourne?
It's right at Hurstbourne and Shelbyville Road almost.
Yeah.
It's where the old. Do you remember where Tony Roma's used to be?
Yeah.
The barbecue.
I was going to say
place?
probably around that
Yeah.
Starbucks.
in
That's some
Bristol, all
Starbucks.
of
Fun,
that's
this
in the
little
same
thing.
strip mall.
Yeah. Cool.
Because, I mean, if it's a big stage and I'm in front of thousands of people, I do a lot of festivals and big shows and all that.
Yeah, you travel
But
all around.
I love those little things.
Me too. Sometimes I like the little dive places more so than the big old stages with thousands of people. It just
Yeah.
depends on the gig,
Right,
obviously.
right. Yeah.
Is there any kind of crazy travel stories that you have? I mean, we've been talking about that all week too.
Why did you
really?
ask him that? Why?
What's a good, really nutty one?
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
I'm
Well,
trying to do
because
a
all
The
these
short version.
Yeah, the short version. But all these older cats, man, that have been doing it for years, they know because I just did it for, a year and just got my feet wet and was like, wow, this is the most insane stuff that happens to you while you're out.
The road. Here's the thing that I haven't experienced quite as much because I, for the longest, have booked my own stuff.
Yeah.
So I played with a lot of different big names like you have. I play. I'm just trying to think of.
Well, you
just
said
off-
you had played with Tony Braxton, or you sent some
no,
stuff
and
to
I
Tony.
sent some music with
Yeah,
her.
that's
for
pretty.
a CD she was doing.
Yeah,
and
that's
stuff.
still pretty cool. I mean, I know you've played with just about everybody. You were telling me earlier your guitar teacher alone.
Oh yeah.
I mean, tell a little bit about him.
Reggie Boyd.
Yeah.
Put me where
Chess Records,
I learned
right?
from Chess Records. The main guy on Chess Records. If that Cadillac Records movie, a lot of people can relate to seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
He worked with everybody in the movie. Okay, wow. I mean, and worked daily, and friends with him. But myself, in terms of playing, I play with a kind of a mixture of people from rock and roll, mixture of people from more R&B.
You were talking about
different
doing that
spirits.
Chuck Berry tribute thing
But
too, man.
And do it, right,
The
and do it
leg
in
kick
schools.
across the stage with the guitar and
Oh, it's a rough one. It's hard to.
yeah. I mean, Chuck Berry pretty much helped invent rock and roll.
yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
in rock and roll came around with the invention of the electric guitar, and then drums were really prominent with that 2/4 backbeat. We talked a little bit about that earlier.
And he mixed it though. That first song was Ida Ray. Johnny B. Good really was Ida Red. That was what it was originally
interesting.
called. It was like rockabilly.
Yeah.
He kind of created rockabilly, really, or didn't say created,
Yeah.
but with the acts. back then.
Rockabilly to me is like just basically rock with shuffles,
Yeah.
like in a triplet feel, yeah, with that bluesy feel, yeah,
Hey,
which is very prominent. The shuffle in blues. We were talking about the Chicago shuffle, and there's shuffles for drummers. I don't know how it is with guitar players, but for drummers, there's multiple different types of shuffles, and the way that they're played is depending on the area that they came from.
Right, exactly.
So when you get the Chicago blues, it's more of the da-na-na-na, where the Texas shuffle, the Chicago shuffle, the Texas shuffle is more like a ZZ Top LaGrange, where it's all based on the foot.
Right.
Yeah, and then you add backdoor shuffles and jazz shuffles and halftime shuffles. They just go on forever.
And wherever you go in the world, whatever style of music, it's the same thing. The thing that differentiates African music, the Caribbean music, Latin music is the beat.
Yeah,
That's
I agree.
What makes the style.
You were talking about Caribbean music.
Oh,
I love a soca, which is a soul.
Soca.
Yeah, you know what I found, Big Papa, is that almost every major dance hit today that kids listen to is a soca groove behind it. That doom, da 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 doom, da 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 doom, da da da. That little feel there, yeah. And it's kind of weird because. I don't know. I just pay attention to that, and I'm always like, well, most of Pitbull songs are a soca. They've got that groove going on in the background.
Calypso.
Soul Calypso, yeah, that's what it stands for.
In the Caribbean, a lot of times for all these different festivals and stuff, they have the big parades.
Yeah.
And to me, that was just amazing. You see a 3-decker bus that really could put 60 people on us, on each different people on different levels.
Yeah.
And you'll see the drummers, live drummers, mixed with hip hop.
Yeah.
People mixing with turntables.
Oh, yeah.
And the way they mix it together for that sound is like,
and then
moving down the street, and then a wall of speakers.
It kind of reminds me of a little New Orleans-y, too. Yeah, where you have the second lines, the parades that come through with the marching bands, and they're just with the napkins swirling them, and just, everybody's throwing it down, dancing, having a good time.
Funeral's over, let's party.
Yeah, exactly. I want that to go on in Louisville if anything ever happens to me. I want a big old
We did that for Tim Crackle. When Tim Crackle,
really?
Remember Tim Crackle?
Well, I never got to meet Tim Crackle, but I came in right as he was. One of my great friends from my hometown of Adair County, Michael Webb, produced Tim Crackle's last record. And so I got hip to him through that, but I'd always known about Tim Crackle because obviously he was a Louisville legend. He wrote the song about Wilson Pickett being in his backyard.
I lived next door. I had a next door to where he passed.
Oh, wow.
And
I did not know that.
very same area. I know it was.
So was Wilson Pickett buried in your backyard?
Yeah, kind of.
Because I don't know where he was buried, but I want to see that.
Oh, yeah. It's not a secret.
Yeah, sure. All right, hook that up. Yeah, but I knew his son, Tim Crackles, and I knew that he was part of the Coral Reefers and had written a lot for Jimmy Buffett and all these, he just did so many amazing things. So I'm very familiar with Tim Crackle, but I never physically got to meet him.
I did a few festivals with him. I've got one buddy of mine. If he's listening, I'm gonna be checking with him. I'm gonna try to buy this off of him. Yeah. But he's got me and Tim on this banner. Yeah. For this event, which was the last one. He didn't actually do the event. He died.
Yeah.
Do it.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
So I felt like, because when I first came to Louisville, that's a guy they talked about all the time, and I was like so honored to meet him. And to do some gigs with him, do some festivals.
Absolutely, yeah. You're always doing stuff with the Troubadours of Divine Bliss too. I saw you. Didn't you play their Harvest Hootenanny or their Mighty Kindness Festival?
Mighty Kindness Fest.
Yeah, aren't they amazing people?
Man.
They are like my spirit animal. If I ever come back in another life, I want to be part of the Troubadour Divine Bliss group, because they always pop into my life when I'm so sad and just miserable, and they remind me that I should be grateful and thankful, and that I'm blessed and magic.
They are amazing.
And why? They give you the why.
They give me and they give me hope always, and they are the definition of what love is. Right. Yeah. I mean, they really are, and I just look up to them so much, Lainey, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, we used to play at this restaurant. I met them at this restaurant in Indiana. That was in Millstown. I feel so bad, and I can't think of the name. But they used to play there. The place burned down twice.
Oh, wow.
Really great restaurant.
Yeah,
But
they play all over the world and tour all overseas, and it's funny because when I was out on tour with Beverly McClellan, I got to sign this lady's bra. It was the first time I'd ever signed a bra, and so Bev signed one boob or one cup, I should say, and then I signed the other cup real big, and then about 5 years later, the Troops are out on tour somewhere up in Ohio, and they send me a picture of a bra they're autographing. They're look, it was the same bra, and I was like, we've signed the same bra, like you know.
Same. Oh, your name was on there.
My name was already on there, and they were like, "Hey, we know Jen Yates." And then they took a picture of it and sent it to me. So yeah, it's kind of funny. I always tie back into them. I don't know why, but they're just amazing people. So Lainey, I was gonna say, I don't want to let Big Poppa steal all your thunder.
No.
He's trying to, but guess what?
What's that?
His day is coming Thursday.
Uh-oh, what's his day on Thursday?
The CD release.
Oh, yeah?
I wouldn't do you like that.
You know, I kind of want to play like the Newlywed game with you, too, just because I think it'd be
You know I can
hilarious.
steal your thunder. I don't have to do much, honey.
Well, you know, Big Poppa, anytime you got a beautiful female in front of you, guess what the crowd's going to watch?
Of course.
We ain't stupid.
Why do you think she's there?
I know, exactly.
Whatever.
You know, I've always told people that. Yeah, I've always told people that you got to put a beautiful, you know, just a beautiful thing up front with some bomb vocals and watch all the attention soar and the goo goo gagas happen. Watch the tips start to go up. Watch the crowds to increase. Just watch it all happen. It's magic. Yeah.
What it was described to me, Guy Tedesco, we were talking today, and he was saying, he said visual rhythm.
Oh.
Think about that.
Was that rhythm written
concept?
down on a piece of paper?
No, well, I don't know if you know, he's a sculptor.
Oh.
I mean, world.
Oh, I love that. Oh, a sculptor. No, yes, that's amazing.
Major guy.
I love all art across the board.
But to tie art in to the visual rhythm thing, and when you just described, now every time I hear somebody describe, I go, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And when you described her,
well, you know, and I was
the movement of her,
yeah. Yes, I hear you. You know, by the way, I was going to tell you that we bypass FCC regulations here. We have a swear jar right here, and and everybody who swears, we put money in here, and then
that's all that's in it.
We donate it off to charity every
Somebody
month.
ain't putting money in
No,
there.
it's the beginning of the month. That's why.
Okay.
Oh, right.
So and trust me, there were some 20s in here being dropped and 10s and everything else. But we cuss for calls here on LRS102.com, The Walrus. So yeah. So Lainey, tell me a little bit about I don't think you kind of went into how you all hooked up, because I know you've done a lot of things throughout your career too with other artists, and you always recording and busy doing something. But what drew you to Big Poppa? How did you two end up meeting?
Okay, I'm not going to be embarrassed to say this, but I'm going to give you the short version of the story.
Sure.
Day drinking one Friday with my sister-in-law. Shout out to you, Cheryl Weaver, if you're listening. Anyway, right. Started out at the Highland Tap Room. Jen, you know about that?
Oh Lord, I was just there last week or week before last.
Awesome place.
Yes.
Need to go back. Anyway.
Which by the way, I was, you know, Louisville, they love to name, you know, one street 4 different names.
Right.
And the tap room, isn't there like 4 different tap rooms?
I knew of 2. The one we were at is the one that's like lower Bardstown Road.
Okay, it's just
like
there south
Baxter.
of Grinstead and Bardstown Road, right beside Hopcat. And then there's a tap room beside of a tap room.
A really small little hole in the wall looking place.
Right, exactly, yeah. I was just there. We just had an LRS remote there because we had 6 metal bands competing for their slot at LRS Fest, which is coming up the first weekend in October. Yeah. So I was just there watching all these metal bands, and I walk in, and there's like hundreds of kids there.
In that place?
Yes.
Wow.
Isn't that wild? It was wild. It was off the charts. I was like, this is why I love the Highlands. The Highlands is my spot, man.
We were really She started
anyway.
and then moved to the other spot.
She bet smack you around,
Anyway,
Papa.
yeah. I'm
Which I
counting,
have a
number
feeling
3.
he might
He's
like.
voting in.
Bound chicken. Wow.
I'm
He
used
won't
to
like
it.
the smack, trust. Anyway, long story short, started out there, Holly Tap Room. Shout out to you. Didn't want to stop there, so we went to Diamonds, St. Matthews location.
Okay. Yeah, because again, there's 2 diamonds because
Yes, it
Louisville
is.
loves to name their venues multiple things in 2 different areas.
Right.
Yeah.
Went to Diamonds, St. Matthews, and this gentleman alongside me to the left was in the courtyard or balcony or whatever.
Yeah.
Not balcony, I'm sorry, patio or whatever, playing, and my drunken sister-in-law was like, "Oh, somebody's back there singing." And I'm like, oh, okay, well, she goes, well, get my drink or whatever. So got a drink, went back there. She goes, hey, my sister-in-law can sing. Can she sing? And I know musicians hate that the most.
Right.
Everybody wants to sing. Everybody thinks their sister, their mom, everybody can sing or whatever. Well,
Right.
I got up there, and he was like, well, she can.
Yeah.
She can sing. Not being, feeling myself.
Can I
or
tell you
anything.
something really funny just along these same lines, and then I'm going to let you finish on that? This weekend, I was playing the Kentucky Motor Speedway on Friday night, and we are playing. Everybody's 3 sheets to the wind. I'm completely sober, right? And we're at the end of our second set, or third set, and we had 4 sets. So at the end, this girl comes up, and she says this very, very dirty line to me, which I'm not going to repeat on air, about a banjo. And I was like, well, she must be really trashed, right? So I kind of blew her off, and she was like, you need a banjo player, and I'm really good at banjo, and you should let me up there to play banjo. And, of course, I'm the same way. Right. I'm like, yeah, right, you play banjo. You are hammered, and So I get back up there, I finish my 4th set, and I'm tearing down my drum set, and the PA is still live, and here comes this chick walking across the way as far as I could see, plucking a banjo like a pro. And I was like, holy crap. So we turned the mic up, we let her do her song and whatnot. So we get that all the time as musicians. We always get, hey, let me up there to sing. Hey, let me up there to play drums. Hey, let me whatever. And about 95% of the time, the person is trashed and can't keep on key or something like that. So the fact that he found you, the banjo girl, this weekend, I can totally relate to your story.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
I love that you let her up.
Oh my God, yeah. He, and he was like, I said, do you know Linda Ronstadt?
By the way, it's her birthday either today or
Really?
yesterday. Yeah, we played "You're No Good," but it didn't go out live on air earlier, so we'll play it again. Yeah, but
He
happy
goes, "Which
birthday,
one?"
Linda
Happy
Ronstadt.
birthday, Linda. I said, do you know that song? He goes, what? I'm like, Blue Bayou. And he was like,
yeah.
well, look through this. He pulls out this this
I knew
big
Bayou.
Like lyric
binder,
chart?
the papers and
Oh,
lyrics
yeah, old
was
school.
falling.
Old
Janet
school.
was like
he
that
had a trapper
big.
keeper with the big old
It was
round
so
bull
old. It was
binders.
yellow,
Yeah.
girl. It was supposed to have been white. Papers was falling out, lyrics and stuff. I'm
That's
like,
from all
holy
the
crap,
cigarette
what in the
smoking
world?
the clubs
and I'm
in
like,
the
you know
day.
what? Never mind. He goes, oh, pick a song. I'm like, no, that's okay. So I just like started out singing something. And he just picked me up and
Yeah.
And a week later, he called me. He goes,
And the rest
"Will
is
you do
history.
World Fest?" I'm like, yeah. Then the rest they say is
Oh,
history.
World Fest, man. What a
Sorry, I
cool
tried to
gig
give
to
you guys
have.
a short version.
Papa, how'd you get that big? How'd you get World Fest? That's a great story, by the way. I love the fact that he let you up and the rest is history, basically. Because she is a great vocalist. I've known this for a
I got
long
ears.
time.
I got ears.
Yeah, no kidding. I hear you. Yeah, you know your stuff. How was World Fest? That's a cool gig to have.
Oh, it is, and I've been doing it a few years. Where Ken Clay, puts that thing on, and he's bought every artist from all over the world and all the big names. He's been doing it for so long, and the World Fest project does every year.
Yeah.
So each year I've tried to do some different things. We had one year we did a salute to Chess Records. We did a salute to rock and roll.
Yeah.
I did one to funk. Where we with the funk with Cheryl.
Oh, Cheryl Rouse. Yeah.
With
Shout
Cheryl
out to you,
Rouse, she was
Cheryl
on
Rouse.
that
If you're
Yeah,
listening, if you're
we.
listening.
I keep trying to get a hold of Cheryl Rouse,
She's
and by
out
the
of
way,
town.
I want her and her son because they're both amazing.
Incredible.
I love his story, and I have contacted her, and she said I would be glad to come in. So she's
a
gonna be
sweetie.
in at some point. Yeah, and I wanna talk to all of them.
He's a genius kind of guy.
I know. And I watched his video literally yesterday. It just came across, and I was like, I want to interview this guy.
Oh,
he's
awesome.
super cute. He's got great musicality. His videos are awesome. Somebody was kind of
He's got a new
educating
book
me.
coming out.
He's got a book coming out, even better. Well, I don't know. Well, we don't know if we're supposed to say that or not. But yeah, either way, I'm going to try to get both of them on the show because I think they're great artists and they represent Louisville well and
Very humble people.
very humble. I want to
God.
talk to them. That's what I do. So we're gonna take a short break, but I think all music, collides at some point, whether it be
Yes.
blues and obviously blues into rock, and funk and soul and all that kind of collabed at one point and
It's kind of
and
the
birthed the
why
baby.
of the-
You can't forget gospel.
And one of those
Y'all throw
babies
that in there,
was
Miss Jen.
Prince.
Gospel, you can't forget it.
Oh, the funk. Oh, the Prince.
We're gonna play some Prince.
Yes.
I love a female drummer and. It's got some Sheila E on it, yeah.
Sheila
But
on
you
it,
got the
yeah.
look, the Prince. You're locked on to LRS102.com, the Walrus. And some Chuck Brown and the Soul Searchers. It's one of my favorite tracks, Bustin' Loose. I love that drum track, man. And it's called, Bustin' Loose on LRS102.com, the Walrus. You're locked on to Generation Nation. I am Jen Yates, the generator, they call me. And I'm joined by Big Poppa Stampley and Lainey B in the LRS 102 studios. We are broadcasting live from the Launch Louisville studios right here on East Broadway. Lainey, I wanted you to tell everybody how we met because how we met is kind of funny. It was karaoke, wasn't it?
Yes, it
And
was.
what were you just telling me? What song was I singing? I don't even remember. Tell that story for a minute because it's funny.
I was hosting karaoke at a local bar that is no longer.
This was now, keep in mind, this is like 21 years ago,
This
literally.
is back in like 98.
99, 'cause I moved here in 99, yeah.
And she comes up, Jen Yates, comes up and fills out the paper. And he goes, here, is this where you sign up? I'm like, yes. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, okay, the Dixie Chicks, Earl Had to Die.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I love this song. The Dixie Chicks
The
that
Dixie
just came out.
Chicks, man. Goodbye, Earl.
Oh, my God.
That was my jam back in the day.
Yes.
And
We know.
I had the short hair
Oh,
and the
God.
sideburns like Natalie Maines. Everybody thought I was Natalie Maines. It was funny.
She looked just like her.
I got Natalie
my
Maines a
God.
lot when I was
Crazy.
early 20s. I was really skinny then too.
Cute.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah. So,
It
but
was
tell them
crazy.
how. Do you remember the version I did though? Because
All I know is I almost start crying because you scared the living out of me. I'm like, holy crap. I'm like,
well, I would do the pretty version, and then when it went into the Earl Had
Oh,
to
yeah, I
Die,
forgot about
I
that.
did that metal. Earl Had to Die.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It was like-
straight up metal, man.
me and Robin was like,
I was a
holy crap.
rocker. I mean, I came out of my mama's womb as a rock and roller. I mean, straight up. Yeah.
we've been best friends ever since.
Yeah, off and on, and I've seen you. And we need to do a
The
song
type
together.
of best friends that you don't see for like months and months, and then you finally see
You
them
just
like,
pick
"What's
it
up,
right
girl?"
back up, yeah.
Like you never left off.
I'm doing a solo record. I just released Bougie, and I've released the Gift of Gold, y'all, and Kentucky Simple off of it. But
No.
yeah, I am definitely need to get you in on a track on that.
Well, thank you.
But it's me. I was telling Big Papa
Call me.
earlier. It's basically me being the female Eminem meets Snoop Dogg, calling everybody out and ripping them a new one.
Wow.
So I need to bring you in to do some hooks for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here's some of the stuff she done with her son. Actually, she got some great hooks she's done on his hip hop music.
Your
Oh,
son
my
does
son-
hip hop?
Yes, he does. He sings too, but he will swear up and down that he can't. He can sing.
Oh, I'm sure he
He just
can.
won't.
I mean, you
But,
birthed him, right?
Oh, thank
I
you.
mean, he's got to have some of your blood.
And my little grandson
Yeah.
can sing as well.
Wow. That's the one talent I always wanted that I never really perfected. But I'm gonna, as I get older, I'm gonna work on my vocals.
You can
Yeah.
sing.
I'm an accidental. As people always say, "Oh, she sings." I said, "What? I'm a guitar player who sings."
Yeah.
She's a singer.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't think that the way he carries on.
I know. Well, and I mean, you grew up singing gospel, girlfriend. You grew up singing them church hymns, Lily
Never
of the
forget
Valley,
my
and all
roots.
that good.
Never
yeah.
forget my roots.
Can't
Never,
forget your
never.
roots. Yeah.
Never.
I told you they moved me to handbells after I sang in the church choir. They were like, "Let's put you on these dingy things," and I kind of loved the handbells.
And now-
it
and
was
look
fun.
at you now.
I know. I wish I'd have harbored a little bit more piano lessons, but my church pianist guy, he was my piano instructor for a little while, and I took lessons out of him and went on to play clarinet and saxophone and cool stuff. But drums were just always my thing, you know.
Wow.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I was telling Big Papa when that hip hop stuff hit, I was all about it. That early Salt and Pepper, man, I knew every word. You know.
Salt and Pepper was the deal.
Oh,
Salt and Pepper,
yeah.
oh, yeah.
When Very Necessary dropped, I was every word. And I had just gotten a vehicle, and I put a bunch of subs and a big old, like, 600-watt sound system up in that thing.
wow.
And I'd pile my friends
Speakers
in,
in the trunk.
and we would be blasting Little Kim through this little town of 1,200 people who knew not who Little Kim was.
Right.
And it was her dirty tracks, and I just did not care. They just did not like me
That's
back
one
then.
of the things that I love about you, because you're just raw. It's like,
I am raw. I'm
this is
straight
me,
up. Yeah.
This is who I am. Deal
Yeah.
with it or don't deal with it.
Yeah. Love me or hate me. I really
Yeah.
don't care. There's no in between. Either
Yeah.
people really hate me. Somebody the other day
Yeah.
told me, I won't say who, but she said, well, you know so-and-so hates you. And I said, what else is new?
Oh.
I've heard that my entire life.
Join
What,
the club,
what else
yeah.
you got? throw me something else.
Right.
Yeah.
Illicit emotion.
Yeah, illicit emotion. I don't know why, though. I think I'm a pretty likable character. I mean, you know, I was a little rowdy when I drank,
It's envy.
but I quit
It's
that.
envy. That's all it is.
I think so, too. But,
It's
you know.
You're
envy.
feeling your life. You got to feel your life and what it's all about.
Yeah, you know, and I was
all you
going to
can
tell
do.
you, Big Papa, because you hit on this earlier. When I was 30 years old, I was working in corporate radio.
Mm-hmm.
And that was always my thing. But I was always pursuing music on the side, and I'd always put out records for different bands and stuff like that. And I finally realized that it compromised everything that I stood for, because I was having to report on things that I didn't really believe in. And so
news. I did some news,
yeah,
yes.
so because it
Oh,
was
yeah.
politics. And so I decided, but I was getting paid a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
so I decided at that moment, when I ended up getting laid off with the severance, to go and teach music, because I thought, you know, even at 30, I realized that I wasn't happy making the money. I would rather not have the money and do something that I love, as opposed
The
to
money ends up
making
coming
the money.
anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah, the money comes anyway
ends
if
up
you
coming
believe in
anyway.
it enough.
Do what
And
you
so
love.
I pursued music for the past like 10 years and have done okay. You know, it's been an up and down roller coaster ride, but you know, when I hit the bottom, it just starts to go back up,
It
and then
just-
boom, you get a radio show and you're playing music and you teach kids and you just love what you do. You know what I mean?
The
Blessing.
kid thing is the most, because I think of all the things I've done when I've made a bunch of money.
Yeah.
You know, different areas in real estate. I've worked in different corporate areas. I worked in, sold to schools. I had prisons. I had colleges, high schools. Had all this corporate stuff, and had an HMO actually.
Right.
Don't care. Plus, the only thing that was real important was the birth of my two kids
Yeah.
and teaching other people's kids.
Yeah.
That's important. I mean, making money, it's important to you, but it's really not. You know what
Well-
I mean? But working with kids and teaching, that is important.
That's giving back is
Right.
the way I look at it. And if I'm giving these kids the tools to do something that has brought so much joy to myself
Right.
in my life,
And
then
allows
I
them
look
to
at it.
become who they are going to be.
Right. And then I was telling, you know, there's kids now that I've taught that are out on tour that are selling out like headliners and stuff. And I'm so proud of them, because they were already good when they got to me, but I just gave them a few tools, and to see them to continue to do it is the goal, you know. And I always said that as a teacher. I'm a student always first of music, but secondly a teacher. And I love to share my
Not
gift.
to cut you off, there was three things a musician got to be. Tell me if you agree with this, and I heard this from an
Sure.
old musician. Musicians got to be real good, on time, and easy to get along with.
I agree.
He said you got to be two of the three. If you're not, you can't be one of the three.
Right. Well, I will
Think
say
of the
this.
people you know who are one of the three.
Yeah, I will say this, that I've had a lot of very professional females who have made it in music tell me that they will hire someone who is likable and fun to work with,
Right.
with a lower skill set, as opposed to someone with a very strong skill set that's
right.
like an asshole to work
That's
for.
right.
And I'll put money in the cussing for calls tip jar that we
Yeah,
donate
got
to
to be
charity
at
every
least
time we
two.
cuss. Yeah, but I agree with you on that, and you definitely have to be good. And Jessica Bullock was in on Friday, pianist around town, and she was saying, you know, you also have to be a hustler. You have to
Yes.
do multiple different things,
That's-
and you can't be lazy, because if you're lazy, you're never going to make it. Because
Well,
there's
my
a
whole sales background was sales and marketing, and my degree
Perfect.
is in that.
Yeah.
So,
So you knew
to
it from
sell
an-
me. I'm selling other people. I finally made a decision. I said, I could sell me.
right.
And when I started selling me, I developed different income streams.
Yeah.
To the point that I'm not dependent anymore on even people calling me. I mean, that's part of it. I still get like you. I get calls
Yeah,
every week.
that's the way I look at
But,
different.
you know, you develop
Every
those
band
income
is a
streams.
business
Right.
that I create. Jyneration Studios, the teaching, that's a business.
Right.
You know, I've got an IT degree. Anytime I do
Exactly.
audio production, that's a business. That's the way I look at it. It's all separate businesses.
And think of the spill out because it got me. And I was talking about that once. I hope you do the beer ain't working.
Yeah,
That's what I did with
absolutely.
Vin
We're gonna do
Moriel.
that.
I did with Vin Moriel, and I really met through doing TV. I've been doing a lot of acting, and I've narrated 3 movies. I had a movie that I narrated that
I love you did
that is like
acting.
the top Leonard Maltin's top 100 films for the year.
Yeah. Do you like acting?
Oh yeah. At first, I like voice because I've done like about 85 or 90 voiceovers.
Yeah, I could see that.
For commercial, radio, TV, and for internet.
Yeah.
So the voiceovers got me into where my agent, I'm with Heyman Talent now, and they said, why don't you come in and do some acting? I'm like, no, they don't want to see me in front.
Yeah, Heyman's a big deal.
They
Yeah.
hooked me up with a lot of things.
They hook up a lot of
I did
actors.
Smoketown last year. We did that. You know some people are in that.
Yeah, I do.
That
I do.
Smoketown,
Yeah.
that was a good.
That's how I
waiting
know
for the
who
second
Hay-
season. We hope.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and good luck on that project because I could totally see you being an awesome voiceover. You know, when I went to LA, they a lady came and found me because of this little documentary piece that I did on YouTube,
Okay.
and she wanted me to read for Family Guy. I went to Fox
Family-
Animation
oh, yeah,
Studios
that's a
in
good- oh,
LA,
yeah, that's
and
one
they
of my
wanted
favorite
me to
people.
read. She goes, "You have this gravelly,
Right,
crazy, southerny voice."
You could be a friend of Ned. Oh, what's his daughter's name?
So I walk into
right.
Fox Animation Studios, and they've got a big ping pong table, and there's all these stand-ups of like all the characters. And then she showed me that literally like thousands of pages were one episode of Family Guy, and it took them almost like 9 months to make one episode.
Yes.
that we watch on TV. Isn't that
Exactly.
crazy?
People don't realize.
Yeah,
Same
and
thing-
she was the one who
Simpsons,
hired
same-
like
all
Seth
of those.
MacFarlane and
Yeah.
all the guys who do the big voiceovers. But those voiceover artists make a lot of
Oh,
money.
yes,
If
they
you're
do.
on a hit show, you make
This- I
triple,
almost had a
6
Rolaids
digits
commercial.
easy.
I almost had a
year.
Rolaids commercial which was a 6-figure hit for Rolaids for their, if you go out for. I got a call back.
Yeah.
But I didn't get it. But it was the same thing where you're like the spokesperson.
Yeah.
And they use you in all these. You see. That.
Oh yeah,
And that's what folks
I did. Actually,
shoot
I
for.
did a few little stints
I've done
in
a lot of other ones,
movie
like
stuff.
medical commercials and.
Yeah, you're
for
reminding me
the-
of Wilford Brimley. I did a
yes.
I did a movie with Wilford
Clean old guy.
Brimley
I like
once.
clean old guy.
Yeah, and it was called Resurrection Marion. It was filmed in my hometown, and he played like this old creepy dude.
Right.
And then the
Yes,
whole
I
time
see
I'm
too,
looking
I
at him,
see.
going, "He's the dude from those Liberty Medical commercials, you know,
Right,
or the
right,
Quaker Oats commercials, where he's up on a horse." Yeah.
Wilford Brimley.
He was
And
pretty cool,
I just
Wilford
I remember
Brimley.
mostly from the thing about the pods and the pool. What was that?
Cocoon.
Cocoon, right?
Yeah,
right,
he
right,
was
right.
famous in Cocoon. Yeah. Well, Big Papa, it's been awesome having you here today, Lainey
Being
B,
on there.
my longtime friend and singer. Yeah. It's been awesome to have you in, and you
Thank
all
you.
have this big event going down Thursday night. It's the
Yes,
CD
ma'am.
release
Got
party.
to come.
Stevie Ray's. They want you to get there around 6:30. What time do you take the stage?
Oh, we're going to start between 7 and 7:30. We're going to start
7:30.
with-
Early gig. I love
So
those.
it's early. Oh,
Yeah.
You'll be.
That's why.
If you want to hang out for the jam after it starts at 9:30, 10 o'clock, the jam.
Yeah.
And so.
Cool.
some
Is that
folks
the
gonna hang
blues
out.
jam
Yeah.
right afterwards? Cool. I love to go down there and sit in with those cats because there's always the best players in town, and they're just so cool down there, and they're so nice to let me sit in 3 or 4 songs, and you get to play with everybody.
Absolutely.
I mean, I was playing with Wayne King on Saturday at Harley
Wayne.
Davidson, and I met him playing one of those blues jams
right,
at Stevie
right.
Ray's.
So
It's
the
just how it
Wayne's-
is. Everybody's
Wayne's an
connected
original.
here. So we're going to finish it up here with Big Poppa Stampley. Where can they go if they want to get a hold of you, if they want you to do work? You got a website?
Big Papa, I am very hard not to find. BigPapaStampley.com.
BigPapaStampley.com.
You got to add it, not just under Big Papa, BigPapaStampley.com.
Stampley, yeah, and Papa is spelled
if you just
Poppa.
P-O-P-P-A.
Poppa. Stampley.
If you just Google me,
Yeah.
I was shocked to find like about 15 pages of Big Papa. What the
And
heck?
you gotta love the internet.
So,
Sometimes
I
I
love
just
it.
Google myself to
I'm not
see
good with it like
see
you
who
guys.
all's cussing me out and saying bad, dirty things
Oh
about
my
me.
God.
right. You go like, what is this? What
I
about all the
know.
stuff you have on there? You go like,
Well,
Why
I
did
find
they use that video?
Well, it's funny because I find that I'm like quoted in like Japanese
Yeah,
articles
right.
and
It's
like
different languages,
articles
right.
from Pakistan and the
Yes.
United Arab Emirates. I'm like, what is
You see all
this?
these ads. I've got these ads where there's
Yeah.
only English on there is my album.
Yeah.
Everything else is, like you said, Japanese.
Well, you know,
or
somebody
German
stole
or-
my website, Jyneration.com, and made it into an Asian site where they sell all this stuff,
Oh, yeah,
and I
that can
can't
happen,
understand
too.
what
They
they're
took
selling.
Mark Stampley.
Well, I had to
That's
go
why I'm
buy
Big Poppa now.
right, and I had to go buy
couldn't
the
get it.
Jyneration.com
Right,
to
right, right,
remake
get
my
it.
own site. Yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts.
And
Well,
I got, can I ask you one question?
sure.
Sure, you can.
I've got a new thing that we're doing, my management stuff we're doing. It's called Blues World, and I would love for you to be on it. Can I interview you?
Absolutely. I would love to be interviewed. Your wish is my command,
You're
sir.
substantial. You're substantial.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I'm a big fan of your work, Lainey. I've been a big fan of yours for 20 plus years. I love your vocals. We're gonna get you in on my solo record. I got all kinds of fun ones. I've been working on it every night. Yeah. And Big Poppa, same with you. Go check them out at Stevie Ray's. That is Thursday night, 6:30. They'll take the stage about 7:30. We're going to play another cut from your record to take us on home, and it's called "The Beer Ain't Working." Do you want to tell us a little bit about this track before we spin it?
Yeah, sure will. That's I've got a partner because I actually do something. But anyway, real quick, Vin Morial and I both wrote that. I did the music. He did the words. He's a playwright, and you need to look him up online because he also is a casting director for all the major films that come through Louisville.
Oh, cool.
So he's a guy. Look him up, Vin Morial, if you're looking to get into that.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
I
And
just
this
love
is the
working
track with
this
him.
guy.
The
I
beer
love
ain't
working
working.
this guy.
Does that mean you've drank too much and it just ain't working no more? Or
This
the
is a
girl
song-
is.
This
it
is a
the-
song. Let me put it. This is a song about the guy, the last guy to leave the bar at the end of the night.
Okay.
Or you may have been him, or you may have seen him.
Well, I'm usually him because I'm playing the bars and the
Yes,
drummer is
exactly.
tearing down their
Right.
drums, which is always the last person to get out of the bar.
You
at
will
night.
know this guy. You will know this.
All right, right on. You know what I thought you were going to say is that the woman was so ugly that the beer just didn't work.
Well, that's
But
kind of
boom.
well.
Yeah, I'm totally
Anyway.
joking, of course. But
No, actually,
anyway.
it's part of the lyrics.
All right. Well, Big Poppa, Lainey B, it's been awesome to have you in the studio. I really appreciate you stopping by LRS102.com, The Walrus, and I wish you awesome success along your journey. I'm glad I met both of you along my journey. God bless.
Thank you.
And
God bless you.
happy Monday to you. And as always, you got to keep it groovy. I am Jen Yates, and we're going to leave you with some Big Poppa Stampley on The Walrus.
It's 2:45. She still ain't pretty. Don't even wanna fight. I'm supposed to cut loose on too much juice, but it ain't turning out right. This beer ain't working. This beer ain't working. Girl, you left me high and a little dry. All I've done for you. So now I'll try to get even higher on this overpriced micro brew. This beer ain't working. No, this beer ain't working. Girl, it's not so bad. I took a cab, so I don't have to drink and drive. I need a big-eyed girl to rock my world, make me feel half alive. It ain't working. Now who'd have thunk I'd have to get drunk to get myself over you? Now waitress,